Today we are back with the second Gaming Roundtable special series that we host in collaboration with Dylance. And in this session, we'll be talking about tokenomics in on-chain gaming and autonomous worlds. Obviously, so let's begin with introducing our guests. We have Nico from the StarkPlay on-chain gaming studio that is developing the Cafe Cosmos game. And we also have the pleasure to host Jimmy from the Ninth, the game studio behind several mini games such as Science and Plan Combat. They saw Mark and Helen fighting their ego on Starknet. So hello guys, hello Nico, hello Jimmy. Welcome to the gaming roundtable at the Star Cafe.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello guys, it's a pleasure to have you here. So before letting John begin with the discussion on tokenomics, I'll briefly explain to you and the public how this Star Cafe will proceed like. We'll split it in two parts. In the first part, each of you will be telling their views on the main topic, up to 7-8 minutes each. Then we'll transition to some follow-up questions from my side and probably from the audience too. With that being said, let's get the roundtable started as we give the floor to John.
Hello, everyone. So today, another space espresso. We're talking about gaming, Web3 gaming within the Starknet ecosystem, and there's a concern from last time. The reason why we hold this space to talk about the Web3 gaming is that the outsider and the traditional gaming industry has kind of like a negative view perspective about Web3 gaming, and one of the big problem is involve a tokenomic, because there's a lot of conservative thought about having a tokenomic within Web3 game. It's just like a Ponzi or so. But as a Web3 builder, I don't believe that Web3 is a scam, and but of course there's still a lot of room and space for us to improve and to build a better mechanism. So today I'm happy to have here Jimmy and Nico from Cosmos, so to discuss one of the biggest topic, that how do we build a successful tokenomic for your Web3 gaming. And I would like to ask Nico first, what is your opinion on this one?
Well, good morning, y'all. Nurstar, it's always a great day when I see you, my friend. What up, chat? Yeah, look, it's really not an easy answer. Usually with games, people almost expect it to be an easy answer because games, we have this inherent perception of games as a much less serious medium. But when we're building Web3 games, and inherently Web3 games are financial, we are essentially building financial products. So we're completely building DeFi protocols, right? So that takes a lot of rigor. It takes many different processes, which are all outlined very well through a lot of the writings on token engineering. And honestly, it can take years. It is definitely not an easy process. And it's something that I don't think I've seen mastered yet in any way, but I think we're getting there slowly. But it's going to take a lot of token engineering and creating that more into a standardized practice. Right?
Thank you for your answer. I would like to ask a little bit follow-up question from because I seeing that you speak in Starknet CC Paris regarding building a tokenomic, how not to be a scam, and you at Cafe Cosmos are building a very interesting mechanism regarding the tokenomic. So could you share a little bit more about that? What are you experiment to do, and how do you think that will work out to be a successful tokenomic model within your project?
Yeah, so Cafe Cosmos, the history behind it, I mean, Cafe Cosmos has always been a very economically inclined game. Before this, I was doing token design consulting services, and through that got introduced to this large community of what they call token engineers, right? Which is like people whose job it is to go into DeFi protocols and simulate like every single edge case, put in historical data, try to find like all the worst things that could happen, all of that, right? With Cafe Cosmos, the talk that I gave at a Starknet CC was called "Why It's Not a Ponzi: How We Solved Play to Earn." And the primary thing here, the primary reason why I say this, is because Web3 games usually function when using a token. Usually function by essentially vesting this token to players. And what that does is what I call a gamified rug pull, right? Because when you're vesting tokens to players, some of these protocols have like 20%, 25% of their entire supply allocated to play to earn. When you're doing that, essentially what's happening is that you're exchanging. It's not tokens that you're exchanging. You're essentially exchanging the liquidity that liquidity providers have put into AMMs against your token. You're exchanging that for players, and when you exchange the liquidity of your liquidity providers, what happens is nobody wins, right? Because if you're betraying them, they're not going to support your game with liquidity, and also at the end of the day, if you don't have liquidity in your AMM, your token crashes, and people are going to see your game as a failure, right? So the difference in Cafe Cosmos as to how we do it is that we actually don't require any sort of allocation whatsoever. We've built something called the redistribution system, which is essentially a new approach to building a zero-sum game, where the only value that can get given to players is the value that comes in by the players themselves. In our game, we actually don't even need a token at all to have extremely tokenized functions. So yeah.
Thank you for your answer. And how about you, Jimmy? You are building also a Web3 gaming, and I suspect that your project also involve token and tokenomics. So could you share a little bit about what you're doing within your project, and what is your opinion on how to build a successful tokenomic model?
All right. First of all, I think this is a financial question, because most people there's back then there's overlapping of financial properties of understanding of tokens. Some think of them as the representation of how well your team or your project does, as such as stocks. And some thinks it's a representation of asset that allows you to get dividend. And some think, oh, it's just something that you can use inside the game. So basically, I think the very first thing is know what you are anchored with, what the token is anchored with. Because people like calling it a scam is that as if it's knowing that, the price of the stock can go up and down. A company's performance can go up and down, but then when it goes down, loses money, then cause the game, like the company, a scam. This is just like unprofessional, I think, from my point of view. And for our game, we have this dual tokenomic system where we have like what token 1 to represent our share and token 2 to be used inside the game. And like this question of pump and dump thing is actually, or rug pull, as Cafe Cosmo representative said, it's kind of like, what if you anchor your token 2 to American dollars? And there's an impossible triangle, because if you want to sustain the value of your in-game token, which do not allow volatility, then where do people come? Like, who wants to make money? Okay, token 1 can make money. You can see the performance of the company. You can make money from like the profit of buying it and selling it. But for token 2, it stabilizes every gaming activity inside your game. And if you anchor it with the US dollars, then I think there wouldn't be any volatility, right?
A question,
So,
Jimmy, how do you anchor a token to the US dollar?
oh, it's as if like, oh, okay, today's topic is like, say, autonomous world, right? It's as if you are deciding a monetary policy for a country, because if your world is like a continent and you have land, resources like oil, say like you have to continuously generate the need for people to go there to sustain that Ponzi, because people has to continuously get something from it. But nowadays, if you anchor yourself with the US dollars, what if I'm an arcade house, powerhouse? People go into my game and play Pac-Man and play Donkey Kong, play the games that we build, and they just go there for leisure. You know, if they win, we make sure that the smart contract reward them for what they win, right? But it's more like a poker chip, you see? So it's really depending on how big you are building your game world to be. If you are just like a arcade house like what we are, then it's not too big of a problem. People come here to be entertained.
So do you
But
have your own token?
oh yeah, of course we do. So we have two. One represents our like as a company performance. Are there more players willing to join us? And but the other one is for people to actually spend. They want stability. They don't want that what they play has devalued or extra value added to it. One
So
is to be used as currency. The other is to be used as share.
so with the currency one, that's the one that people spend when playing a game, and then they get
Yeah.
do they spend it when going into the game and then get paid it when coming out? Like how does that work?
Oh
What's
yeah,
your
it's like how much, like say if you invest $5 to, like last year, about May, we built a game. It's like Hunger Game. You pay something to play that game, and then there will be a accumulated pot. So if say $5 to play that game, and 500 people played, then it's $2,500, right? Then it gets split between the top 3 players. So at the end of the day, they come out of the game, splitting that $2,500, and that's it.
right?
Simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah. When I say Ponzi, when I say scam, it's not so much that what you just described. You know that works is when companies essentially incentivize gameplay through allocations of their
Oh
tokens.
yeah,
Like
I
if I
know.
can come in,
It's
yeah,
Yeah, that part I sort of like when we look at the very beginning of when we started this project, we think that even for the Web 2 games like the say Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate, you get bored like in 2 months, right? So basically, the generation of needs they solely rely on newcomers to actually to invest their money to cover up the interest that they are giving away, which is not sustainable at all.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
we decide not to do that at all. Just like how you did. Yeah, I totally
very
agree with
nice.
what you just said. It's player against player. We're just the referee over there. We're not. You are not. Players shouldn't be playing against us.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's the thing, right? Because if you're giving away the way Web3 games worked last bull run, as you know, I related to a casino that was always losing. You know, like a casino should be winning, right? Casino should have revenue and come out positive, right? But if the casino's always losing, always giving away to the players, like you know,
Yeah,
uh,
our investors will fuck us up.
correct.
What kind of stupid business are you running there? So that
Well,
result,
did it.
a lot of, yeah, that results a lot of business just hit and run once the Ponzi collapse. Yeah.
Yeah.
For my opinion is that I do think both you have a point is that like when you're building a Web3 gaming, I read somewhere from articles saying that involving tokenomic and economy is something inevitable with Web3 gaming, and even with like traditional business gaming, you still see that they make profit through selling in-game items and selling package or pay to win or subscribe model. So I think that a successful tokenomic, we should have a lot of like researching through your own our own life, thinking about economy and business wise, and then you apply it into your game with your token and with your own activity, in-game activity, so that you create your own in-game activities that encourage people to actually spend for your in-game and in return for entertainment and in return for fun, and then that would be more sustainable of a tokenomic model, because I do think that there's no perfect mechanism, and it's different. It will be different based on like period of time. If, for example, like if this downtime like this, people are not motivated to spend money to just to play game, then and they don't get too much, then you have to change your strategy somehow that could fit this current situation. But then when there's more upside of the market, and then people have more money willing to spend, more willing to invest, then will your tokenomic model satisfy them during that time, combining with your with your world activities? Is it fun enough? Is it good, attractive enough to keep your player stay within your world game? So basically that's just my idea. Yeah, and regarding that, Nostar, do you have any question would you want to add for our guests?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I was thinking a bit about in-game token inflation mechanisms that are always difficult to balance with in a proper way, not only Web3 in general, but obviously particularly in the gaming scene. And like I wanted to ask our guests, is token inflation inherently bad for games, or if planned properly, it can also make the game even sustainable and even more attractive to gamers? Maybe we can start with Jimmy.
All right, but I think I've made it quite clear that I think, it's like giving away interest out of, because if people are coming to your game, they want US dollars. They don't see any value in your application, or they don't find themselves entertained in your game. Then what's the point of coming here? Then the only way for you to encourage people, newcomers or crowd, is to give away the share of your company. Pretty much it's that. And this share has up and downs if you are listed. So what I mean is, if you really want to a sustainable economic structure or architecture, it should be first do what you should do best, which is building a game that people likes. And then they come here, pay US dollars, and then they think it's a fair deal that if I play Texas Hold'em, I win, I take $200 to play tonight, and I lost like $50, or I win like $100, which is fair and square. So this is using the Web3 value of being fair, equitable. The dealer is actually the smart contract. So, and for the but also John mentioned like the reality, because a lot of projects that are unknown to the world, they have to somewhat give away some of the stuff. But I mean, if you run a club, like if I'm running this arcade house, I mean, like I can give away like a discount that you can play. Like say, if you buy an $8,000 discount, then you can use it as if you are playing like say 100,000, 20% discount. I can give away if I'm doing an event to encourage newcomers. But this is entirely controlled. It wouldn't be out of control because when you nail yourself, anchor yourself, your share of your company with the interest that you are giving away to encourage people to buy that share, basically this will get you falling into the trading trap. That's all I have to say about this. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah, thanks a
Mr.
lot, Jimmy. That was a very very good take. And what about you, Nico? What do you think about like token inflation? As you are very tokenomics expert, and also given to your previous experiences during the past bull run, or how should token inflation work in a proper game?
Yeah, nurse. That's that's the $1 billion question, right? Is token inflation bad? You need some token inflation, right? You need some of that lubricant, like just like in a healthy economy, you need. I believe it was Switzerland who had negative inflation, and I might be totally wrong here, but I believe that what they started to do is actually print more because you need inflation, right? However, with Web3 games, with play to earn, it was just completely out of whack, right? The problem primarily is that you can't port games from Web 2 into Web 3 willy-nilly, right? You can't just the token systems that we have in Web 2 just do not work in Web 3 because we're working on peer-to-peer decentralized markets, right? So in terms of inflation, I think some is necessary if you're going to use a token. Has it been done perfectly yet? I don't think so. I don't even think it's been done that good at all, to be honest. I think, we're probably getting a lot closer to what that should look like. But the primary thing is that, you want some sort of automation that will control the inflation if we're in like an extreme bear crash versus we're in, a bull kind of nice growth. You don't want to just essentially get your liquidity just absolutely sucked after we have some catastrophic event to the market, and then you continue to issue tokens, right? Because then you get into the death spiral business, which is what we saw a lot of last year.
Absolutely. And what about you, John? It would be nice also to hear your view on that.
Yeah, I agree with Nico regarding that. At some point, token inflation is actually a good thing for your project because let's think about, because if you have your own token and if you have a dual token system, right? One is for, like government or something, one will be for reward and utilities. Then at some point, if your project grow, significantly and you have more player coming in and the token inflation will help in a way that when they start to use the token to join the game or for the in-game activities, then it wouldn't cost them so much because, let's imagine if you only have like a million token around comparing to have like 5 million or 10 million token around, then obviously that would be really like help for the growth if you have abundant of token around with circulating, because the cost for joining the game would be like way cheaper, and then the people will certainly like come more into your project to try it out. Because like I still remember like when Axie Infinity was like in its peak, and then the demand for SLB to mint a new or to breed a new Axie is way higher than the supply, and then it just make the price of the SLP token and ASS token go up like significantly, and it just make the cost for breeding a new axis or the cost for a new player to come to join the game could be up to like 300 to 500 USDT, and that's gonna be a kind of like bad thing, because like if it's gonna be very like concerning if I want to join the game and I have to pay like $500 to play just a simple mobile strategy game, right? So and also I think if you have like more token circulating around, then it will be more opportunities for the project and developer to build more activities to utilize the token itself without concerning about the cost and concerning about how much your community or your player has to pay to enjoy your game. But again, is also something depend on the market also, because like for the bull market, of course, the market decide what's the price of your token, and you cannot always know that how much inflation is enough. And I think that the big question here should be like, you will have your time where you have a lot of token inflation, but the big question would be like how your team react to
Sorry,
the condition
is
of
it
the
just
market.
me that I cannot hear him?
No, actually, I could hear John pretty well.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Jimmy? Yeah. So what was I'm saying? Yeah. So the big question is like, there will be certain time that your token will be high and the inflation is a lot. So the big question would be after that would be like, how do your team react to these to that certain condition and have the right tool, the right strategy, the right way to somehow control the inflation and encourage people to stay within your game and use or take advantage of all the utilities that you have to offer within the game, and not worrying too much about the price and stuff. Because like I think with Web3 game project, if you are doing a game, you should also focus on the important aspect that your game has to be fun and enjoyable, right? So because like I think with Web2 traditional gaming model, they still have you still have to pay for your game items, game material, or subscribe for it. Then I think with Web3 game, but there's still a lot of people who willing to pay, willing to enjoy the game and winning the game. So with Web3 game, if you also at the same time focus on that kind of aspect of the entertainment of the game and the community, the fun aspect, then it would be also easier to help you to control the inflation at some point. So that's my opinion.
Very nice, John. And I saw that I remember that you also wanted to have some words on like how to prevent bad actors in your home game, if it's possible. But yeah, maybe would you like to ask Nico and Jimmy for something about it?
I'm sorry, could you repeat, please?
Sure, absolutely. Do you have any other question? I remember that you wanted to ask about
Yeah.
how to defend ourselves from like grinding and farming.
Yeah, there's a very interesting topic that about this is that like mainly when the game fee get it picked with Axie Infinity and later Step N, I see a lot of people just coming to the game just for money side of the game, but then it actually helped Step N and Axie grow like really fast and become a big company. So there's a big question that when we build a project, that should a project pay attention to the earn aspect to firstly gain the attraction of the user, and I would like to ask Nico regarding this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as bad actors in Web3. I think if your game requires some sort of validation of whether someone is an appropriate actor, then you probably haven't made the right game. Web3, we don't have Sybil resistance by default, right? We need to work around those things, right? So I think that's like a really good test. And building around having a Sybil resistant game always is like inevitably going to be beneficial through the design process. But, you know, I think just shopping around for any sort of like Sybil solutions, like, you know, Gitcoin Passport, very quickly one can realize that like that's just not like, you know, and a path you want to take in Web3. It's not. I mean, even like with something like WorldCoin, you know, you can get so many IDs. You can farm your IDs, right? So I think whenever that idea comes up, especially internally, it's always like, okay, we need to head in another direction.
Thank you for your answer. I totally agree with you, and I would like to ask Jimmy on this topic that should a project pay attention to the earn aspect to first gain the attraction from user and community. Jimmy, can you hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Great. Would you want me to repeat the question? So Jimmy, the question is, should a project pay attention to the earn aspect to first gain the attraction of users?
I beg your pardon. Sorry, my network. There's something wrong with my network. Yeah, it's been lagging.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'll repeat the question again. Should a project pay attention to the earn aspect of the game to first gain the attraction from user and community?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, people come to do things, and it's proof of work. As long as you can prove that you've been working here, doing something that the game requires, you should be rewarded.
So it's completely opposite with what Nico opinion. For me, I think that we also internally discuss regarding this one, and I think that we shift the direction into the different question is that you know, the earn aspect, how sustainable you're gonna give your community and your players to gain enough attraction, but also not giving out too much that will eventually lead to a unsustainable ecosystem. Because I think that, like I said many times, when you're building a Web3 game project, play and earn is something that inevitable, and at some point for sure that people will find a core loop in your game, or a way to start writing money from your games and stuff like that. And I think, well, I mean, like business wise, if you think about it, right, if you started to get user to use your game, your project, by giving them away some sort of like gain and reward, it would be, kind of like a good thing, a positive thing after all the hard work you put in. But then again, we ask that if we giving them overnight money, would that be sustainable enough? Should it be a different approach so that we can still gain player, gain community, gain attraction, and but still be able to run our
Okay.
game?
Actually, how I see this is that there are two kinds of people. One is the mass, which does not much to they're here to enjoy, to play, or to do something, but they are not here to contribute. But there's another crowd which is more technical savvy, and they are here to contribute. So basically, occasionally, we're not. See, the key word here I'm saying is systematic reward. We will not have systematic reward for the non-core contributors. It's by event. So we give away by event instead of every day, as long as you come, you get rewarded. So that's how we control this.
Cool. Yeah, follow up that topic. I would like to ask, like, what can we do to, prevent people coming and just grinding and farming your project reward token and just dump it? And what is your opinion on this, Nico?
We want people to come and farm. That's the game. If that's how people are playing it, then that's what the game is. And I don't think that the masses come for fun. I think that's a big misconception. I think the masses come for speculation and profits. A promise of becoming rich, right? I think that's definitely what drives every bull cycle, what brings new people into Web3, and we have much of those residues now today. But how to thread the line of reward and future inflation? Well, look, when you're giving away a token that is your game token, it's like giving a mortgage backed by a mortgage. You are in trouble, right? Because you're giving away like this like almost empty vessel that is riding on the fact or on the on the hope that your company is going to do well. But you can get into like a lot of like, I guess if your games start doing bad and then your tokens also aren't doing great. So it's always better to back that with something like ETH. I find is what we're steering more towards. But yeah, I would say that how to thread that line of incentivization into players. Look, we've thought a lot about that at Cafe Cosmos. Like, our weather mechanism is essentially primarily that, and it's not an easy answer, and it's not something that can be generalized. But my favorite quote about what Web3 games should be is from one of the people I respect the most in the space. His name is Bodan. If you guys are, you guys might have seen him around. Bodan, shout out to Bodan, because he said it perfectly. And it's that Web3 games inherently have to be exotic derivatives, right? Your game should be in some form of way a derivative product, right? So I think like when threading that line, what we've done with the climate system is that essentially like the climate system is like almost a transposed signal for inflation or deflation, which is tied to the performance of ETH in a major AMM. So the bottom line is that you need controllers to control your primary variables, such as like how much you're inflating. And these controllers are not easy to make, right? Like they take potentially years, right? And it's why a lot of projects actually steer away from doing tokens, but they're not impossible. They just honestly, they take much longer to make than, in Web3, we have this kind of idea of like, 1 month is like a year, right? Especially during the bull. But honestly, that really is what it takes to make financial game products.
Thank you for your answer. And Jimmy, what's your opinion regarding this? What can we do to prevent player come and grinding and farming your
Okay.
project token?
First of all, I do agree with what he said. I do see the pros and cons.
Jimmy, I think you lost connection again. Could you repeat? Hello, Jimmy. Are you still with us? Okay. I think Jimmy has some technical problem. Um, well, yeah, I do agree with Nico regarding this that at some point it would be good if people just come and just grinding and farming your project token, but then we ask ourselves that how do we sustainable after that peak time of your project, after that you have a flood of people coming in enjoy. And it's many ways to do it. We can do a lot of in-game activities. We can do unpredictable reward system so that people cannot find a core loop to just focus on grinding and farming your project. But then again, it's a game project, so what we should do is during that peak time we should focus on also building a good, and we prepare for it, building a good plan for keeping your community alive and stable. And after that, and also I think that reward, there's one thing we say that reward should come with responsibility, right? So what we have been researching regarding these issues is that when you have reward from, let's say, Axie Infinity or Step N, you have so less activities and utilities of your token or responsibility of your token to you know um, give it back to the ecosystem. And that's not how we should that's not how we should function it. And what we're building at the island is that we build this class of the island system that involving a lot of responsibility within the player, so that when they earn something, they have to pay back something. And I do think that it might work, I hope, so that it because now it's just like experiment and trying to find a suitable mechanism when the bull come. So yeah, I do think that's how we should react to this question, that what can we do to prevent this. Jimmy, you join again, can you listen to me? I think
Yeah, I
okay.
just added him back. So maybe
Yeah.
we can just turn to the last question
Yeah.
in order to close to wrap up our gaming roundtable. And seeing that it seems like that the bear market, by I know it seems like by scrolling down crypto Twitter, it seems like that the bear market is a distant memory. So my question is, how do you think that the next Web3 gaming season, the gaming hype season, will look like, if there will be a bull market that will also include a gaming hype? Nico.
Oh man, that that's another $1 billion question. Look, man, to be honest, I think dude, it's really hard to say. What I think will happen is autonomous worlds is gonna be the new buzzword. I think that's gonna be the new metaverse. Um, we're already kind of seeing it happen. I think there's gonna be a lot of hype, a lot of you know, of these faux products are gonna come out claiming to be autonomous worlds. We might actually get our image of the image of autonomous worlds right now. The brand image is actually really good. That might get smeared. A funny thing is that I feel like, at least in my perspective, the word autonomous worlds comes from everything else being so smeared. It's like we had to come up with a new word. It's like how in play to earn we had to come up with play and earn because play to earn became so smeared, right? But I think that's what's going to happen, and if we do see another bull market, I don't think it's going to be any less manic. I think it's probably going to be like just as manic, if not more. I definitely think we have a lot more people in crypto now. So just the same manic bipolar behavior that we have in crypto will probably repeat itself. In terms of games, there's going to be some things that outshine others. There's going to be things that come out that haven't even been conceived yet, right? And it comes down to like the main selling point of any kind of token, which is how much can you convince your audience that this is the future. And I think audiences have actually gotten a lot more intelligent. We all have, right? Before we thought that Axie Infinity was the thing that could work, and like now people have adjusted, right? The hive mind learns quite quickly, right? That's why things like FTX, etc. I think the hive mind learns very well. Hacks, etc. Whenever that happens, it's like a kid falling off his bike. We're getting much better at riding our bicycles. So I think what's probably going to happen is the vision of autonomous world, as like me and many others, Calc here, many others have been expressing this like radical new paradigm for games. I think that's going to be a big selling point. And I think that it's going to be a selling point for the token buying retail consumers. Likely, the people that will be making the most money out of it will probably be people who are really good at marketing. Probably haven't given this as much schizo late night thought as many of us have. But, I think that's where we're going to head. And then we're going to have another bear. So, I think that's a cycle. God willing, we have a bull market. I don't know if God gets involved in that kind of thing, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how things will develop, and it's gonna be vibrant. I can already imagine it. And what about you, John? Do you have some views on that?
I agree with Nico regarding this autonomous world. I think this term has been developed recently, and then a lot of folk actually has been building it. So I think the next gaming season will be more like, who's building autonomous world and who's do the best marketing regarding this one to make people actually believe in what you're doing, in all the benefit that you bring. But then also because actually, that's what we are doing internally. That I think that the Web3 gaming season coming would be something like some game that claiming to be a fully on-chain game, and they are doing such simple game, but significantly addictive for people for a certain period of time. I would say this, like last time I mentioned, Flappy Bird, right? So that's a game, a very simple game that has made a worldwide sensational, like I think a decade ago. And the guy he just do it like over the weekend in 1 or 2 days or something. But then it just suddenly become worldwide famous. And when you look back, it's just a very simple game, but the fact that it's attracts so much players, that because it's just simply so addictive that you cannot get stop playing it. And I think that's what we are trying to do, is that we're building such game that are just fun, addictive, and also combining all this tokenomic and stuff like that, and hopefully it will work out. But yeah, that's my idea: autonomous world and a fully on-chain game, and with a little bit of simplicity.
Sure. Jimmy, did you hear the question, or you want me to repeat that?
No, I actually hear the question this time. Somehow my network goes on and off. But for my team, we're just focused. We're incapable of anticipating when the bull market comes, because if it comes like much later, then all things change. So we're not really focused on we're doing things for the bull market. What we're doing is actually just, as John said, make a game that can entertain people, and also at the same time have a sustainable structure that we feel comfortable with, that controls your tokenomics, that controls the inflation and everything. Yeah, we do not try to, but there's one thing that we do differently. We're more conservative in such sense that we do not want to give away the shares just to encourage quick comers, in the bull market, which only lasts like 2 months or something. We want people to feel happy. We don't want people to come to play our game every day, because you get bored playing one game. But if you it's like eating Chinese food. You want it once a week, not like every day. So we want our game to be in that sense, in that market area where people, one day they figured, I want to play this game again. We want people to come back again, but we don't want them to stay here and spending all their time without generating any physical value, but spending all their time online. That's not sustainable to my sense. But maybe I'm just conservative. But thank you guys for having me here and sharing what I think. Thank you.
Our pleasure, Jimmy. Actually, I also wanted to add some views on a recent news, because I believe that during the next gaming hype, I think that gaming marketplaces that will embrace crypto gaming and Web3 games will be playing a pivotal role also in helping them, market themselves. And because it is a very recent news that Illuvium, the Illuvium game, will be launched on the Epic Games, which is one of the few gaming marketplaces which is welcoming crypto games. And therefore, I think that also having a change of wind, a wind change in that field will be very positive for games in Web3 games in general. Obviously, not all Web3 games will be able to list on such marketplaces, but still, it is a beginning, at least, to improve the reputation of our field as well. What do you think? A brief take on that, on this news.
I think it's positive in a way that there's such companies started to accept Web3 gaming and on the projects that are building, because I still remember it's still very difficult if you want to launch your apps on App Store if it's involve NFT or crypto in general. So yeah, I think it's a positive side that the world start to realize the potential of building a Web3 gaming. And soon, I think all the big player will have to, if we have another success of some project that showing that it actually doable and bringing on this, of course, their traditional business. So what they care about is profit. So if it's bring out good profit, then I think it's gonna be a good sign for Web3 projects that are currently building. But then again, until that, we have to we will have to accept the fact that there will be a lot of obstacle when we are building to get the acceptance of conservative and traditional business, and there will be project that take advantage of this, because last time I think there's a game just launched. It's called Big Time, and they launched their own token, they launched their own NFT market, but in the end they are not a fully on-chain game. They are not a Web3 game at all. The whole game just run on their own servers, centralized server, and there's nothing performing on-chain except for that they have just their token and their NFT. So yeah, for me, it's just another traditional business taking advantage of it, but then people get the hype of it because they have the power of marketing, the power of of money, I would say. But yeah, I think it's a good side.
Very well, John. And Nico, I think you wanted to add something on this point. Then we'll close the space.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's nice that we can put our games somewhere. That is very nice. I will say. I don't know how much it does for like our reputation as an industry. Honestly, I feel like oftentimes we worry about this too much. I think slowly our reputation will become better. I don't think people were used to the idea of self-custodial assets. But yeah, I think slowly it'll get better. I think Bitcoin will be a main driving force in all of this. But yeah, I think the main benefit of Epic Games taking our games is that before, if you had a game, built in Unity, exporting that to WebGL it's a really ugly process that is infuriating, and WebGL with Unity actually can't take multi-threads, so it's very slow. It's very annoying. It's very bad. So you'd have to resort to building your game in JavaScript, which I know many have, and that works very nicely. But obviously, it's got like a lot of limitations, especially if you want to hire like game developers, right? Because it's much harder to find a game developer in JavaScript than it is to find a game developer in Unity. But the main challenge was if you're building in Unity, like as an executable, as a desktop standalone. Your problem is that it's very difficult for people to verify that for viruses, and obviously we're in crypto, so we're a very very aware or hyper conscious of security. So I think being on the Epic Game Store, where it's definitely more validated, and hopefully there's some security checks rather than just downloading an executable from a website, I think that is definitely helpful.
Definitely, indeed, yeah. So, guys, it's time to let you enjoy your weekend. It's been an amazing gaming roundtable session here at the Star Cafe. So, thanks a lot to John for hosting this episode with me, and obviously, thanks a lot to our guests, Nico from StarkPlay and Star Cafe, and Jimmy from the Nine. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming.
Thank you, Nusta, for hosting and having us.
Thank you, Nurstar. Always good to see you, my friend.
Likewise, my friends. Enjoy your weekend as well, guys. So, and obviously, thanks a lot to all the listeners, to all our friends here, Joao, Kaid, Modular, Blockchain, StarkPlay, Exodus, Fabio, Catalao, Calcutat, Out Something, Vince, Kodawari, Derek, Dylan, Sprois, and all the others. Enjoy your weekend, guys. It's now time to close. Remember to share the Starknet vibe, and see you next time. Bye, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye. See you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.